So we're going to go ahead and get started with today's conversation. Today's conversation is a recorded session, but thank you for everyone for logging in. So I have a wonderful speaker, Silvia Araya, which she is a bilingual Spanish-speaking individual and here to talk to us about anxiety. I know myself have been in that place of anxiousness and different life transformations, and sometimes it's hard to find that moment of like coping whenever we don't have tools in our coping toolbox. And so hopefully this can be a wonderful discussion for all of us. But Sylvia, take the lead.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is something that I am passionate about. This is not only something that I've been doing for the past 15 years plus, but also something that I personally went through, and it has become basically my path and what I do and my message. So I'm going to start with a presentation, but just know that you can ask, raise your hand, interrupt whenever you need to. This is a space where we can take our time, hopefully. Okay. All right. Okay. I hope you can all see. Yeah, good, good. Okay. There is a very there's an intention on why I chose these colors and this image and the background. And you're gonna know about this a little bit more throughout my presentation, but just before I start, I want you to feel or connect with these colors, with this image, and just see what comes to you. What do you sense? What do you notice as you're looking at this beautiful sunset in the Maldives? I think that's what it said. And maybe you've had a day with a lot of movement today. You've just coming home, you had situations happening with people, with coworkers, with at the store and traffic. So just coming into this moment, coming into this image. And if it brings some sense of calmness, then I invite you to maybe even imagine yourself sitting there, warm, nice sunset. Yeah, nothing else going on. It's just you and this beautiful place. Okay, and I can feel my breathing also changing as I'm connecting to with this image because I too came a little bit nervous into this presentation, so I'm connecting my nervous system with this. Okay. So let's start by understanding anxiety. I know that a lot of us know this already, but it's always good to revisit, and also for the people who may find this new. So, what is anxiety? It is a natural response. So, a lot of people, a lot of texts out there, and a lot of theories out there have put anxiety as something negative, something bad, something we don't want, when in reality, anxiety is just part of our system. It's part of what helps our bodies and our system to basically cope and navigate through life situations. So it is just a response and a state in the face of certain situations. It can become disorder. This is more a psychological word, or it can become unbalanced. obviously, and if it's present in your life every day or with a very high intensity. And of course, it can affect your day to day life. But other than that, anxiety, it's not bad and it's there to help us in a way. We are going to talk about this a little bit more. So I just want to make sure that we start with a different concept of anxiety, not the way that we've been taught. It's not something that you have to get rid of or something you need to eliminate from your life. So to me, it's very important to start with the nervous system because this is where a lot of anxiety happens. The role of the nervous system, it's basically to regulate our responses through the autonomic nervous system, which has two main parts. One is a sympathetic system, and the other is a parasympathetic system. The way I understand it, or the easier way for me to understand these two, because it's like, wow, that's a long word, like parasympathetic. What does that mean? One, imagine like one is the gas pedal and the other one is the brake pedal. This is the easiest way I get to explain it. And so throughout life, we sometimes need the gas pedal, right? And sometimes we need the brake. Unfortunately, nowadays, because of everything that is going on, the way we live our lives, rushing, um, going through a lot of crazy things, the news, political situations, economic situations, sometimes they're not very harmonious. So basically, we're going through life with the gas pedal like to the floor, and then all of a sudden, boom, we hit the brake, right? And then again, let's do the gas pedal, and then boom, the brake. And so it's not very pleasant. Imagine you're in a car and basically you're going very fast, and then all of a sudden it stops. It's not very pleasant, and it's not the natural way for our system. So what happens is that we get into these extremes, and basically we live in dysregulation. So the system is trying to do its best. Our nervous system is always trying to help. But again, like I said, because we've learned our situations in our lives, create this pattern where either the brake is on or the gas pedal is on, and they just don't get into a rhythm. So the ideal would be to get into a rhythm where we sometimes accelerate a little bit and then the brake comes in, and it's just this beautiful dance between the two. Not too much of one, not too much of the other. It's just this dance between them, and then you have this um, steady journey without the bumps. So I'm going to move all of you to this side. So again, when we are in unbalance, then anxiety and other things are coming up to let us know that something is not right. I'm going to say that again. Anxiety and other symptoms, illnesses, whatever you want to call it, are here to let us know that something is not balanced, something is not right in our lives. So, tying it back again with what I said in the beginning, anxiety is not bad, anxiety is not evil, it's not something we need to get rid of. It is a messenger letting us know that something needs to be corrected or balanced. So the most common symptoms, this is just a few because believe me that in my 15 plus years, I've heard it all. I've heard all kinds of symptoms, and I don't want to put them all here either because I don't want to create some anxiety in some people. But the most common ones would be rapid heartbeat, difficulty breathing or concentrating, sleep problems, sometimes restlessness. And when you have very high anxiety, you can even have tremors or feeling cold, feeling very hot, even dizziness. Um, and certain things, again, that could be very alarming, but in reality, they're not dangerous at all. They're just ways for our system to let us know something is going on and needs attention. So when we have anxiety most of the time or very high anxiety, of course this can impact our lives. Again, going back into the analogy of the gas pedal and the brake pedal, imagine if you were always driving your car that way. It would impact the the way like your car functions. It would impact the way, maybe you need to do maintenance more often because you're always hitting that brake so hard, or the gas pedal is always on. And so obviously that creates other things. So of course, when we live in this state, it can affect our work, can affect our relationships, can affect overall quality of life. If you're not sleeping, for example, that affects your hormones and affects probably your mood, and that affects your relationships. And so everything is connected. Also, it may lead to avoidance of certain things or limiting yourself from doing certain things because anxiety, it's being in this alert state, basically, like sensitive, super alert state. And that can lead to, oh, I don't want to go to a certain place. I don't want to go to the mall. I don't want to go to the supermarket. I don't want to go to, you know, and I know this because I've been there. I got to the point where I was even having panic attacks and I didn't want to leave my house. And it was hard for me to even get on the bus sometimes, let alone go to places where there was a lot of people, like supermarkets was a big no-no for me at some point. Or concerts or things that, in daily life could be, completely harmless. But my system was looking at that as a threat. And so I started to limit my life. It was even hard to go to work. I remember waking up and crying every morning. That's a that's the extreme, obviously. Um, so I'm gonna pause here because this is a lot. And some of you are maybe feeling like, oh yes, I've been through that. Oh, I've had that. I've had the symptoms. Um, I've had the it's shortness of breath. Or so I want to take a moment just for you to connect with your system for a moment and see if there's any activation right now, or this is making you calmer. This is like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I feel good. Just notice. And there's a reason why I'm stopping every now and then and not like just throwing all this theory on you. Okay. And just notice. And if it's okay with you, you can take a deep breath. I know I'm taking a deep breath because even talking about this just brings some memories. And I can feel my heart going a little fast too because I'm giving this presentation right now. And there's a part of me saying, like, oh, these people are listening and looking at me. Yeah. This is a very important tool. And now that we're heading more into the tools for healing, the reason why I stop is because connecting with your nervous system and what it's called interoception, it's very important in order to heal. Interoception is going inside and asking yourself, how am I feeling right now? Am I feeling something like, is there something here? I'm going to stop sharing so you can see me better. Oh, looks like my video is frozen. So you may be asking, like, oh, do I have, like, is there something here? Oh, I feel something here, or there's something here, or I'm feeling like a little pressure here, or maybe I feel my heart racing, or I feel nervous. That is part of interoception. So just take a moment. Me telling the story about my panic attacks. Okay. Just want to make sure we're doing good. We're doing good. Okay. All right. So back to the presentation. So a lot of people is like, okay, I know about this. I already know anxiety. Come on, I've lived this my whole life. Let's skip to the good part. I know how it feels like. I don't want to talk about that, okay? Um, trust is the most important factor that I found in order to heal anxiety and panic attacks and even trauma. I started um, doing research and investigating a lot about anxiety and panic attacks, a lot to heal myself, my own situation, my own experience. And then I found, the more I would research, I found that trauma was the root of, I gotta say, 99% of the cases. And trust, I found, was the answer for all of those three, because a lot of what happens in anxiety and panic attacks and trauma, it's disconnection. We had a disconnection with someone in our lives, with ourselves, and we're going to talk about this later, and with something bigger than us. And there's obviously nothing wrong in going through situations that are difficult or trauma, wounds. But if you went through those situations and you didn't feel supported, you felt alone, you felt abandoned, that is like a double wound. It creates a bigger trauma, so to speak, because we are built to go through challenging situations, but we get stuck. And we get stuck sometimes because there wasn't a sense of trust. So imagine in your lives, and I feel like I need to stop again so you can see me. Imagine in your lives that you went through a very tough situation, but someone was there for you, someone was there with you. And immediately, this other persons who were there, um, they were able to let you know that it was going to be okay. They said something like, I'm here, don't worry, we'll work this out, we'll figure it out, it's going to be okay. We're going to take you to the hospital, or, this person that you care about, they're going to be okay. I'm going to be right here with you. So imagine that situation. It's difficult, but you hear this, that kind of makes it better, right? So imagine the same situation. Let's say, you fell and you cut your arm or your leg, but nobody was there. Nobody was there to let you know that you were going to be okay, that things will work out, that it wasn't a big wound. It's just a little thing. Don't worry about it. We don't even have to take you to the hospital. Or even if you had to be taken to the hospital, that this person or persons were there for you every step of the way, reassuring you, holding your hand. It's a very different experience. You see what I mean? That it's one single incident changes a lot depending on how you felt, and if you were held, and if you had the appropriate tools and resources in the moment. Some of us are fortunate to have them, some of us are not. And that creates this disconnect, like I say, or this sense of trust. So if you were alone, for example, in this situation, and you didn't know what to do, and you struggled, then there could be a belief that it's created in that moment that I'm not capable. I'm not capable of doing this. I won't make it. This is too big for me. And in that moment, there is this separation inside of you. This trust, and in that moment is built, because this belief that I am not capable is born. Or in someone else, if someone was there for you and they didn't know what to do, they also struggled, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I just realized I can't trust my dad, or I can't trust my mom, I can't trust this person, I can't trust my teacher, I can't trust in that moment is broken, whether it's inside of you or outside. And that is when we go into anxiety and panic, because there is this sense that I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm going to be okay. I don't know if this will get solved or not. And this sense of like, I don't know and I can't trust right now then gets in the system. And that's why this alert comes out, this alert of like, let's always be looking out for bad things to happen or problems or something that could, or something dangerous. And the anxiety is that it's just being alert, always looking out for something bad that can happen, because I don't trust. I don't trust myself. I don't trust the outside. So of course the from that perspective, the answer will be to trust again. Now this is not easy. I understand that trust is very sensitive. It's very delicate. Once you stop trusting, imagine like when you've had a situation, or remember when you've had a situation with someone, a friend or a partner, and that person did something that wasn't okay. And then you say, well, it's not even what you did, it's just that I can't trust you anymore, right? So, of course, the healing is building trust in relationships that provide support. Of course, when we feel supported, when we feel that we can trust, then of course our system can relax and we go into parasympathetic. And actually, we go into our vagus nerve gets activated, which is even better. Parasympathetic will be too passive, but let's call it for now the parasympathetic, which was the break, right? You can slow down if you feel supported. You can slow down if you feel that things are going to be okay. We normally accelerate when we don't feel safe, right? If you don't feel safe walking in the street, you walk faster. You don't go like, oh, I'm just going to go very slow right here, right? No, you don't. You go faster. But when you are building relationships and supporting environments, your system says, oh, I can take a moment. I can breathe. I can slow down. Yeah. And of course, when we have trust, communication changes and we don't feel isolated, and that promotes resilience. We feel that we can do it because if I trust my environment and I trust myself and I trust the people around me, I say, okay, if something bad happens, I know that I'll make it, right? It's not so easy though, because if we had not trust for a long time, especially in ourselves, that relationship needs to be rebuilt again. Okay, let's go. Oh, that's a pretty image. Let's go to the next one. So before we go into more techniques, I want to know if it's okay. You don't have to talk or raise your hand or anything. You can also put it on the chat. What helps you to trust again in someone? If, let's say, a friend or family member, partner did something, and this person comes and says, I want you to trust in me again. I want you to, be okay with me again. Like what would help? What would make you trust this person again?
I think for me, if I can chime in, it's based sometimes on actions and repeated behavior. So like I need to see that there's a sequence of like security to say like, okay, now I can trust. But then I with mistrust, I'm always like, when is the ball gonna drop again?
Right. That was perfect. Thank you so much. You nailed it. And I see another comment here, so I'm going to read this and then I'm going to go into uh, talk about what you said. So for me, I rely on setting healthy boundaries for the future. Yes. Okay. All of this is very good because, again, if our systems learn not to trust outside, meaning the world or people in general, or this person in particular, or not trusting myself, and sometimes it's both. Sometimes we learn not to trust in ourselves and also not to trust outside, which is very tricky and complicated because how do you navigate life like that, right? And I think some of us uh, somehow survive like this. Um, this is very important, what you said there, which is I need to see. I need to see it to believe it. I need you to show me with tangible actions that I can trust again. Now, on the outside, it's very tricky because we can't control what happens outside. I can't control what happens in like the economy and the weather and, politicians, and I can't control that. So it's a little tricky. But when you have a situation in particular, a person or yourself, you can try. And it's something that it took me a while to understand, but I needed to treat myself like I was treating a friend that I had let down. Yes, exactly. Mistrust of self is big. It is one of the biggest wounds that we can carry because basically it's like we're walking through life with the enemy all the time. It's like your roommate, yourself, right? It's like your worst enemy. And so I know that I've betrayed myself a lot of times in my life because I've said horrible things to myself, because I've abandoned myself in difficult moments. And so my system just became this alert, sensitive system that didn't believe that I could handle things. So I had to show myself, just in the way that I would rebuild a relationship with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I had to be like, okay, I'm sorry. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to try to show you that you're not alone anymore and that I got you and that we can do this. I see a hand right there.
Um, yes, and if I can time kind of like an example, I'll do like
Mhm.
a little personal testimony to that for myself. I had like a sequence of like failed relationships, and so it brought me a lot of anxiety that created a lot of mistrust in myself when I was younger of like, well, now I'm anxious getting into a relationship because I already know that it's not going to work out. I was already telling myself it's not going to work out. So I was really anxious to even be like, is this even worth a try? So there was like a large mistrust towards my own decisions.
Correct. Exactly. It's like I don't trust myself anymore. I don't trust myself because I mean, look what it got me. And that's even the biggest betrayal. Like even if, a boyfriend or a girlfriend or someone betrayed you in your life, the fact that we abandon ourselves as well and just stop trusting ourselves, it's like a double betrayal. And so what happens is, as you said in that example, that was a trauma. Something happened in a relationship. And then after that, I just learned I couldn't trust other people and I couldn't trust myself. And then that creates that anxiety, that alert. And so this is like examples in relationships, but we can talk about examples in general. I remember the first time I had a panic attack. I didn't know it was happening. So I didn't handle it very well, as you can imagine. I thought I was dying. And in that moment, I got desperate. I didn't know what was that. And so my system saw that and said, like, oh yeah, this lady, she doesn't know what she's doing. Like, we can't trust her. so, so yeah, exactly. You remember your first panic attack forever because it's so traumatic. And so again, your system says, I can't trust this person. because she didn't know what to do. We were like dying here and she couldn't handle it. And so I can't trust her. So I need to look for someone else. And I remember I got to the point where I couldn't be alone. I need to be with someone always because I felt that if I die again, right, I need to have someone else because I didn't handle that very well. But again, this could be taken into all kinds of examples. Like if you, for example, had a car accident, then people say, then I don't trust other drivers. I don't trust myself driving, right? I don't trust the road. I don't trust highways. I don't, yeah. Or if you had a situation, a medical situation that was not handled very well, and there was a trauma there, it's like, oh, I don't trust doctors anymore. I don't trust hospitals anymore. Yeah, exactly. And it creates dependability because then you don't trust yourself, then you're looking for something else to grab onto, to be able to feel safe again because your system is not feeling safe anymore. And if something else happened, if let's say an abuse and sexual abuse, of course you don't trust other people. And if you were a little girl, a little boy, you don't trust adults in general. It's like, oh, wow, the adults, they were supposed to take care of me, and they were the ones who harmed me. I'm not going to trust adults anymore. And I can't trust myself either, because there's also sometimes this idea that I was also to blame. I did something wrong. And I see my camera playing games today. Yeah. This could be a reminder to take a break and breathe, especially now that we're talking about trauma. Hmm. Yeah. How's your body doing? Hmm. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, sometimes when I talk to my clients, my patients, I say, let's say, are like in the traffic lights, are you red? Are you yellow? Are you green? Yeah, I think I'm feeling green right now. How are we doing? I see a hand there. Go ahead.
Yes, it was funny whenever we first started the workshop. So Alina and Isabella, they've been riding with me all day today. But today we had a super hectic day from the morning all the way until we left our last location to getting home. I know I was home and rushing and trying to hop on the call and myself, like you kind of mentioned, like the breaks. And so that transition to getting back to a harmonious level, it just takes a little while because I'm running on high adrenaline. And then I knew I had a meeting coming. So I was like also very anxious of like, I know I need to be here, I know I need to sit down, I know I haven't done this. And so like now it's like just trying to level itself out for myself.
That's great. Yeah, and just acknowledging that, acknowledging like, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm still yellow because my body still thinks that I need to rush. Yeah, again, see the alert still there. It's almost like if you had a smoke alarm and there's no more smoke. It's all gone, but it's still going beep, 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 right? So um that happens too. When our systems are running like crazy all the time, it's hard to come back because then we get used to being up there. Again, we don't trust coming down. We don't know anymore how to do down here. We're so used to it. And this is crazy because sometimes we don't even trust how to be, how to feel well anymore. It's like that's even a threat. Have you gone through that? Like when it's like, oh, I feel okay, I feel good, something bad's gonna happen. It's like you're always waiting for something bad or the other shoe to drop. That is part of it, the anxious trauma response from our bodies. That we're not even letting ourselves feel good anymore because we don't trust it anymore. And again, that is a trauma response. because sometimes it's like, well, when everything was good, that's when it happened. That's when, the accident happened, or this person left me, or whatever. It's exactly when everything was going well, something bad. And so then our systems learn to be up here all the time just to keep us safe. So the intention behind it is good. The intention behind keeping us alert is good because it's about survival. It doesn't mean that it's the best strategy, but the intention behind it is good. It's just trying to protect us. Panic and anxiety are trying to protect us. I see some other comments here. How to deal with self-doubt. Sometimes everything feels suspicious. How to deal with that? Yes, we're going to get into that. And I used to sit down for more than an hour and I would feel anxious, feeling like there was something I needed to do, take care of. Yes, that is a great example. And that happens to me as well. I would sit down and I'm like, I need to do something. I can't just be here, like doing nothing. Like again, it's our system that basically knows to run always fast on adrenaline to survive. But obviously, that's causing other things. So let's go back into the presentation because this is going to, then I'm going to weave it into like that. How do we heal and recover from self-doubt and all those things that you were asking? Again, keep in mind, how would you heal a relationship? And we said it before, it's showing up. It's with actions, tangible actions that show that I am here for you. One of the biggest ways that has helped me in particular, because I had a hard time being loving to myself, um, I needed to see it from a child's perspective. So I started working with my inner child, that she was the one that I had betrayed. She was the one that was feeling anxious, scared, um, in panic. And it was easier for me to then be loving towards myself because I thought of myself as this little girl. So I was more compassionate than just imagining like, oh, I'm giving love to Sylvia. Hi Sylvia, I love you very much. That felt very fake and weird to me. I wasn't there yet. So I started just picturing like I was doing this for this little girl that lived inside or lives inside of me. So let's weave this in with the techniques that we have here. So techniques for calmness. Okay, we talked a little bit about the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve, it plays a crucial role in regulating the body. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve we have, and it goes from the base of the brain all the way to our intestines. And this is why when we feel nervous, we feel nauseous, or we feel like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom, or I don't feel like eating right now. So it's because it's all connected. Literally, it's all connected from the brain to our intestines. Everything is connected. The vagus nerve, though, is the piece in the middle. Remember, I said, oh, one is the gas pedal, the other one is the brake. In between those is the vagus nerve. So it's that rhythm that I was telling you about when we are somewhat active, but at the same time relaxed. So part of the actions that we can start doing to help our system to regulate and show up, as we were saying, just to build that trust, is things like breathing. And but I'm gonna talk about other ones that are not so mentioned and maybe not on the books, but laughing and dancing and singing. And I see some people smiling right now, and smiling also engages the vagus nerve, and playing. So yes, obviously mindfulness and meditation and breathing, all those things engage the vagus nerve because we are active, but we're relaxed, right? That is the combination between the gas and the brake. Let's say the brake will be completely being asleep and the gas will be like running like crazy. So the in between is like when we play. When we play, imagine like you're playing with some friends, like outside with a ball, right? I don't know, football or something like that. You are active. You're running around, but you're not stressed. You're having fun. See what I mean? Or if you're playing a board game, you're active, you're not asleep, but you're having fun. Or when we have a very interesting conversation with a friend and we're laughing and we're like, those conversations that could go for hours and you feel great, that's the vagus nerve. And so it's finding those activities that are active, but at the same time feel good and relax you. So that could be yoga, that could be walking, that could be, like I said, playing and singing and dancing and humming. All those things engage the vagus nerve, and that ultimately is going to regulate your entire body. So, breathing techniques are very important because they really calm down our system. And there's plenty of breathing techniques. Um, we can even have just a workshop on breathing techniques. So, just so you know, there's a lot going on there. But just something simple as like, I'm going to breathe deep and feel all the way to my belly. So, you can try that right now. You can go and maybe put your hands on your belly and your tummy and feel how it expands and contracts. And you just that, it's enough. And if you practice also inhaling very slowly and exhaling even slower, that it's basically taking the foot off the gas pedal. And there's also practices like 4-7-8. When we inhale 4, hold it 7, exhale 8. There's one also called 4-4-4, where we inhale in 4, hold it in 4, exhale in 4. You get to choose the one that works best for you because everyone is different. And that's the other thing. I talk about techniques, but honestly, everyone is different. And sometimes there are techniques that work for me and it didn't work for a client, or for some client it worked, but the other one, no. And I would not recommend trying breathing techniques while you're in a panic attack because it's a bit crazy. I tried and I was like, I can't, no, I can't even focus, like concentrate. So I would say try the breathing techniques when you're not having a panic attack, and then you'll see the difference. If you get panic, you'll see the difference. Stretches are also very good. Again, it's an activity that is relaxing. So as you're sitting, because I know I sit a lot. I'm sitting down many hours a day. Just standing up, moving your body a little bit can stimulate the vagus nerve and just ground you differently. So try to, like, in the middle of the day, especially when things are getting very crazy, you're getting stressed, pause for a moment, take a breath, stretch. It takes a second. I'm doing it right now. So you can just stretch for a minute and go, oh, wow. And just taking that second, that little break, can make the difference because then you don't get to up to 100 miles an hour because you're taking little moments where you take the foot up of the pedal. Creating calming environments is also important. So maybe choosing a place in your home, a little corner when you have like little things that make you smile, could be on your wall, like images of a beach. And that's why I put that beach on the background. Remember what I said in the beginning? I did this on purpose because I know that that would calm my system. So, images of something that calms you down, makes you smile, or looking out the window. I have beautiful trees here, and what I do is I sometimes purposely take a moment and just look at the trees and I go, oh, yes. And it grounds me. And then I go back to what I was doing, sending emails and all those things. But I took a moment, a mindful moment, just to break, just to take a break. And then that building a trusting support system is so important. There's nothing more powerful than love. And I know it sounds cliche, but it is. So creating a network of people around you, friends, family, co-workers, um, or a group, a therapy group, a support group, anywhere where you can feel that you're safe, that you're held. And if you don't have any of those, you can do it for yourself. Like we were talking just a few minutes ago, your inner child needs you. And that sometimes is the best way to start with self love, is to picture yourself as a little kid. And if you can't even do that, and I know that because I was also like, I don't like kids. That's how I was when I started. You can also do it with a pet. You can go and say, oh, I'm gonna imagine, I'm gonna picture like this little dog or this little cat inside of me who's feeling alone and feeling afraid, and I'm going to nurture it. And I'm gonna say, hey, I know how you feel, and I'm here for you, and we're gonna get through this. And I'm gonna show up every day so you start trusting and you know that we've got this. So do it with a pet, do it with your own inner child. You can also choose a random kid. It doesn't even have to be you. It's just building a sense of love inside of you. You can choose an imaginary kid or someone else's kid or your own kid. Could be your own child. And that's why I tell parents, when you have kids, oof, you're halfway there. You already know what it's like to nurture. So you can also do it. Like imagine that it's your own kid who's feeling this, and what would you do, and do it. And back to this image. And I invite you to connect again. How does it feel now? How does it feel in comparison from the beginning to now? Are you feeling different? Are you feeling the same? Imagine you're sitting there, nice warm breeze, and the sound of the ocean, and everything is okay. You can trust again, even if it's a little bit. Maybe take a deep breath. Exhale very slowly. Resilience, it's not to be super strong all the time. Resilience is the ability to have bumps and stand up again, to fall down, dust yourself up, and continue. That is resilience. Okay, I stopped the presentation. Sorry, I didn't let you know that I was coming up, but I see some comments here. Yeah, panic attack. That is a good question. So yeah, I said, don't try to breathe during a panic attack. Then what? Right? Yes, there is a lot you can do during a panic attack.
Difference between
Yes,
anxiety and a panic attack, because a lot of people are like, well, which one's which and what
I
is it?
know. What should I do? Yeah, well, yes, that's a good question. So anxiety is, um, I'm gonna take this. This is filled with water, right? This is anxiety. And it gets filled with stress and situations and alert state, like all the things that we were talking about, right? This is high anxiety up here. And then if I keep filling it up, what's going to happen? It's going to start to correct. That's a panic attack. That's the way I like to understand it and I like to explain it. So all of this was anxiety. So some people have, low anxiety, medium anxiety, high anxiety, right? And then when it's just not, it just flows over, that is a panic attack. And again, it's just messages. What is this telling me? If this water starts to overflow, it's telling me, hey, I'm putting too much water in here, right? And even if it's right here, it's full. What is that telling me? It weighs, it's heavy. Right now it's heavy because it is full. I fill it up for the presentation, but it's heavy. So again, living with your bottle full, it's heavy. It weighs on your system. We're not built to go through life always like this. We're built and our systems are strong enough to go through little potholes, yes, and to have moments of, ooh, but then, oh, okay, we are built through that. And that is resilience, as I was saying. Resilience is the fact that we can go through stress and come back. It's like the suspension on the car, right? It does this. We go on a pothole and the suspension goes, but then it pushes back and puts the car back, right? Right where it was. That is resilience. The problem is that nowadays we go through so many potholes and it's so constant that actually suspension doesn't go back like this, it just stays up here. And then the more potholes you go in, the harder it feels because the suspension is not, it's not absorbing the impact. Does that make sense? And that is our nervous system. Our nervous system is built to absorb all kinds of impact, even the hardest ones. But if we don't give it room to breathe, if we don't ground ourselves, if we don't have a network and trust in our lives, then that is going to continue to be like this. And it's never going to go back into the natural state of calmness and relaxation. So that is the difference between anxiety and panic attack. So what, yeah, unfortunately, I'm reading some of the comments. Most of us are over capacity. Um, so what do we do in a panic attack? Again, depends on the person, because I know I've had panic attacks where looking at my phone helped me because it distracted me. And sometimes just looking at my phone was like, oh no, that is overstimulating. And I would get into even more panic. So you gotta try for yourself. There is one technique that is very easy and it helps to ground, and it's basically naming 5 things that you can see, 5 things you can hear, and 5 things you can touch. So if you have someone there with you, it helps, but you can name 5 things I can see. Okay, my phone and my lip gloss, and you have to say it out loud. It helps. And my water bottle and coasters and my laptop. And then 5 things I can hear. I can hear birds outside. I can hear my own voice. I can hear a TV in another room. And I can hear birds again. Okay, 5 things I can touch. I can touch the desk. Right now, I can touch this microphone and touch it, really touch it, feel it. And I can touch my phone and I can touch this water and it's cold. I don't know, and then take a breath. And if you need to go again, do it again. Again, 5, 5, 5, 5, until you feel better. There's also tapping that I really like. Tapping is just basically touching some points of your body. There is a protocol, but I tell people you don't have to remember it. When we're in panic attack, it's very hard to remember things. So you touch in different places and see what feels good. And sometimes that is enough, right? And you just touch yourself. I remember during a panic attack, I just wanted to do this, and that was making me feel better. And I just did one point, and that is okay. And my favorite, and again, it's just going back to that little child, that little girl that gets so scared. So I remember not being able to sleep until I grabbed a pillow and I would hold it like it was a baby. And I started to just move around like a baby. And I would be like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm here with you. We're going to get through this. It'll pass. This is not dangerous. And I would fall asleep doing that, crying, obviously, but I would fall asleep just calming my own system, calming myself, giving myself some love. Because, and this is very important, I should have said it in the beginning, but anxiety and panic are not dangerous. No one has died. Promise me, I've been doing this for a long time and I've done the research. No one can die from this. but it feels really awful. It does. It's very uncomfortable, and I don't want you or anyone to go through it. So take a pillow. And if you're at work and you can't have a pillow and you can't do this because it's going to look weird, go to the bathroom. I used to do that. In the middle of a panic attack at work, I used to go to the bathroom and just cry and let myself just and hold myself as I was crying. And even like doing this in the bathroom, I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Let it out. It's okay. Just exactly think about what would you say to your child and do it. And the parents here would say, "Oh, I would probably hold my child and say, 'You're gonna be okay. Mommy's here. It's okay.'" Didn't do that. Say that. Say, "Mommy's here," and feel it in your body. That is very calming. Let me see. Tapping forehead. Yeah, it's very soothing. That's it. Yeah. So I realize that we are at the top of the hour. So I don't know if you want me to keep going. I can keep talking about this for years, so don't let me stop me, please. Go
Want to
ahead.
answer the question of does overstimulation stimulation cause is the cause of anxiety or part of anxiety?
Yes, thank you. I didn't see that one. Yes, yes, and yes. So I also talk about that one of the factors, because there are many factors, and I didn't go through that in this presentation, but there are factors that contribute to anxiety, right? Again, this doesn't get filled on its own. And it's not just stress. Let's say that the bottom of this bottle has some um, trauma from early childhood, right? And that is like the very foundation, the base of it. It's with that, right? And on top of that, we can add here some other types of trauma or parents getting divorced or I don't know, other situations that happen around here. And then let's put here a little bit more around adolescence, situations with self esteem, and maybe even more trauma. I don't know. And all of that we put more like stress. Sometimes I also tell them people like imagine this field and the stress is like fire here until it boils and then it starts to go over, right? So one of the elements of this and also ancestral trauma, I forgot, but ancestral trauma also is in here. So also a sensitive personality. I've come to realize over the years that there's also a component that, yes, genetic and also all those things, but also a sensitive personality. So I noticed since I was a kid that I was very sensitive to sounds and energies of places, of people, sensitive to the pain of others. So that type of sensitivity. mm, it basically, yeah, it makes us more prone to get overly stimulated very easily. And also, when we are already anxious and when we're in alert mode, our nervous system, like I said, it's built for survival. So if you are in danger, let's imagine you're in the forest, your system is going to be like this, right? Every little sound, every little movement, you want to know because it could be a tiger, it could be a bear, it could be, right? So when you are in high stress and anxiety mode, your nervous system is going to be like this because it's thinking that you are in danger. And therefore, I have to be super aware of everything that is happening. And so I can also get overstimulated easily. So it's a little bit of a vicious cycle there. It kind of feeds to each other. So something that I do, because I know now that I'm a very sensitive person, is I try to sleep enough every night. If I don't, I know the next day I'm going to be more sensitive. I try to avoid certain things that I know are not good for me. So, news, I try to limit my amount of news because I know that affects me. And certain conversations, I had to learn how to set boundaries and say, I'm sorry, but I don't want to go into that right now, or I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to go to this place. I don't want to do that. So setting boundaries also help me because I was always saying yes to everything, even though it didn't feel right for me. And then I was overly stimulated, and then I got anxious, and even with panic. So, yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. And yes, we are at the top of our hour, and definitely this is a subject that I feel like we can go on because there's so many rabbit holes between triggers, what's in our environment, what's contributing to the stress. Even you mentioned ancestral trauma. Sometimes those contributing factors, or even the new phase we're in, what does that also have for us? But I would love to continue the conversation, but definitely I will say reach out to Sylvia. She's such a great resource. And I remember the first conversation we had. We were on the Zoom for a little bit, like, oh my God, we're so excited about this. But thank you so much for today's presentation. Is there any final remarks that you have for us?
Just be gentle with yourselves, show up for yourselves. Actions matter. Treat yourself as you would treat your child, or a loved a friend, a beloved friend. And yeah, take anything that I said, take what you feel like it's for you, and the rest, leave it there.
Thank you. And does anybody have any final questions, remarks for Sylvia? I definitely want to give you all the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
But thank you so much for being part of this conversation with us. We'll be posting this video on YouTube for other people to rewatch. If you didn't get the opportunity, if you want to share it with someone, continue the conversation. And as always, we're Native Healthcare Center. So we have these conversations every single month. And so be part of the conversation, share the conversation. And Sylvia, thank you for being a blessing today. Gracias. Bye, everybody.